Songbird Serenade, Autumn Blaze, or True Love by Switch Down. Sometime after Applejack and Fluttershy's visit to the Currents, the knowledge of Currents has spread across Equestria, and even with help from Applejack and Twilight and their friends had to help to modernize the Current society, like introduce them to more modern society, music, food, anything so that they would not get confused, because it turns out the Current had been insulating themselves over the past several hundred years. But now Rainshine had admitted that it's time to be embraced the outside world into their own. Even many of them, at least some of the Currents were still were kind of against the idea how to put some new modern era things in their society. But after they was introduced to the sound of music, the food, they all agreed it is time to embrace the new, but still keep the old. And one of those Currents was actually Autumn Blaze. She was really very energetic. After she came back to her home, she had been traveling with some of her friends outside the Current home to nearby towns, but especially one time when she actually went to Ponyville to see some of her friends there. And she was very surprised to see this bigger town and see how many things were so very differently. Like how to pay aside for controlling the weather and how much this society works. Because Twilight gave her some of the basic understanding about the society itself. And she were really surprised. And Autumn Blaze has actually decided to remain in Ponyville for at least for some time, get to know more about their society, and if we get some more friends. Even though the Some and Rarity and the others were really surprised, and it was from what Applejack had told the others how much Autumn Blaze is talkative. And first Rarity said that must be an understatement. That must be something something that she didn't ask understatement. But when she met Autumn Blaze, when she heard talking, and Rarity rolled her eyes and looked at Applejack with a smile, and Applejack just nodded, and she realized that Applejack did not kidding about that. But one day, when Autumn Blaze were with Twilight and Spike in Camelot for some meeting, Twilight was going to visit her family for some time, and she offered Autumn Blaze to join her so that she could see the capital of the Pony Society. And she was very eager, because from what she heard from her friends, that Camelot is much bigger, even more elegant of the society. When she came to the town, she could not stop looking around the things. She literally ran up to many stores and windows, saw dresses, skirts, all kinds of things, even hats. She walked through the restaurants, looked at the menus, and she couldn't stop running. And even Twilight, she just smiled and just nodded. But Spike, he has given the duty to keep Autumn Blaze in check and not making any troubles for herself. At first, Spike had promised not to try to keep that. But at first, when he looked away for a second, and when he looked back, Autumn Blaze was gone, and he was looking scared that he actually, from the first beginning, lost sight of her. But he actually found her only a moment later, that she was looking at the park. But later, when she was meeting Celestia and Luna, and she was very not surprised to see much about the royal society, the royal systems. even from what she heard from Twilight and other friends. Even Rainshine was considered as to be the princess for the Kirin society. And Celestia and Luna were really eager to meet the Kirin ambassador, which they called her. And they actually left her to say to stay in the castle even if she didn't, if you want to. And she did. So for the next couple of days, she had a very great time. She even went to study the castle. She walked around. Even that she got in trouble from some of the guards, they thought that she was an intruder, but she explained that she is a visit guest by the royal sisters, and even one of the guards didn't believe her. But some of the guards who did actually recognize her and explain that it was the truth. So it didn't take much time for that. She just spent time in the castle garden to enjoy the view, and even enjoyed some times with the castle, with the Luna or Celestia in the dining room or in one of the chambers where they talked. But one day, when Twilight and Autumn Blaze were in town, they saw a poster. Songbird Serenade is coming to town and to have a performance. Autumn Blaze has actually listened and heard about some of her performance by some songs, and she actually liked the music. And she asked Twilight if it was possible that they could go to this concert. And Twilight thought maybe that could be something that she could do. But of course, when they went to buy some tickets, it was sold out. And when she told Autumn Blaze, she saw that she was very devastated. She would really hoped to see Songbird Serenade by herself. But then she went to see Songbird Serenade's manager directly if there was any possible that she could see if they could go to this concert, even though that all the tickets were sold out. At first, eventually, they thought maybe this because they were royalty, they shouldn't have any special treatments at all. But Twilight said that she didn't want to have any special treatment. She only wanted to let her friend to see the concert, even if she was not even in the crowd, but if she could have some place to see. But then, at the same time, the manager was about to talk, Songbird Serenade actually walked in. She was stunned to see Twilight. She saw her for the first time after the Storm King's visit, invasion of Camelot only a year earlier. But Songbird wonders why Twilight and this particular unusually pony were there. Twilight explained that they want to go to the concert, but they find out the ticket was sold out, and that her friend Autumn Blaze, who was a Kirin, wanted to see the concert, but her manager didn't thought maybe that they shouldn't have any special treatment. But Songbird Serenade actually did something unexpected. She actually told her manager to give them allowance to get to the concert and even backstage passes, which Twilight and Autumn Blaze didn't expect to hear. She thought maybe that she was going to give her an autograph or something and just leave. But she actually left them to be at the concert and even in the backstage, which Autumn Blaze never could dream of. But when she actually went to the concert the same night, she was so excited. She was so ecstatic over all the concert. Even after the concert, Autumn Blaze went backstage with Twilight, and they spent some time with Songbird Serenade before she had to go back home. And then, Songbird Serenade actually invited them to her place the next day so they could see her practice in her own studio, which Autumn Blaze thought it must be a dream. So the next day, they went there. First, it was stopped by all the guards, one of her bouncers, but they explained that they had this permission and was actually invited by Songbird Serenade. But the bouncer, he he didn't believe it first, but then actually her manager came down and he explained it was actually the truth. And of course, they went inside and both were so happy and eager to see this performance. And surprise enough, that Songbird Serenade was actually working on a new song which she had wrote only a few days earlier. Even that Autumn Blaze, she couldn't believe it. After the practice, Songbird Serenade had invited them both for some lunch, and they talked for a bit before that Songbird had to do some more recordings. And of course, Twilight had to go back to the castle, and even that she asked if Songbird, the Autumn Blaze, wanted to stay, and she did. Autumn Blaze promised to be back to the castle before sunset. And of course, she did promise that. But when all the performance practice was over, Serenae and Autumn Blaze decided to spend some time together, since Autumn Blaze didn't mind that. And after some time, she had to go back home to Carrot Society. But when she came home, she couldn't stop thinking about Songbird Serenade. She actually believed she was one of the best artists, singers in Equestria. But there's something else that happened. Every single time when she thought about her heart was pounding faster. She was literally speaking to herself that she loved her. And loved her music, loved her personality, but most of all, her smile. The smile made her heart melt every single time. And then she had realized it. She had fallen in love. Autumn Blaze had fallen in love with Songbird Serenade. Even that she wanted to ask Rainshine if they could invite Songbird Serenade for some concert for the Kyrans. At first, Rainshine was a little bit skeptical about this idea, because she knows that Songbird Serenade is a very popular singer, and she's probably had some schedule where to perform. So, but Autumn Blaze did ask if that she could manage to convince Songbird Serenade to come to the society, to the Kieran village, and to do some performance. Would she allow it? And Rainshine thought for a moment, and she said yes. If she were able to convince her, she was allowed to perform for them. So Autumn Blaze, she wrote a letter to Twilight, and she asked her if she could talk to Songbird Serenade's manager for at least some performance in the Kieran village. And Kieran's were so very excited, and they all believed that she was coming there, but Autumn Blaze said she hasn't heard any messages back. And of course, Twilight did talk to Songbird's manager about this. At first, he was a little bit skeptical about herself, but Twilight said, at least maybe one concert couldn't hurt. And since maybe she doesn't have any plans, concerts in schedule for some time, maybe what she could do some small performance just for the Karens. After all, they are new to the modern society. And she even explained that some of the actual Karens loved Songbird Serenade's music, and they had never seen her behind themselves, only on posters or hearing her music. And of course, they even asked Songbird Serenade about the first as well. And she was actually really open about it. She was willing to do a concert for the Karens. She had done a performance in Baritonia, South Arabia, and even the Griffithstone. So why not for Karens? So she actually brought back, and surprise, Honorable Blaze was so excited. For the next couple of days, all that they had to do was to build a scene. for a stage so that Songbird Serenade can sing from. And of course, the manager has sent some ponies to make sure everything was going to according to plan. Even Twilight was sent there by herself, of course. And so, after a couple of days, stage was finished, and only about 2 days later, Songbird Serenade actually arrived, and all the carers were so excited. The performance went perfectly, and even Songbird was actually quite interested, and she asked her manager if she could stay in the care village only for about maybe 1 or 2 days so that she could relax for a month. And since she found out there were some hot springs in the area, and she was just wanted to try them. And her manager has noticed how much she has been practiced much, and she hasn't been overworked. She hasn't get much rest, and she must much relaxing time for herself. So he actually allowed her to stay for about 2 days so she could relax and just spend some time with maybe some of the fans. Of course, he would not let her be herself, so he actually let maybe up to 3 or 4 guards with her. Of course, she didn't want to have any guards with her, but she allowed at least 3 guards to be there, but they had to let her be some space so that she could talk to some of her Karens, or at least try some food, or just spend some time with them. And the guards first were not much as much as accepted idea, but they promised to keep some short distance, but always be ready if there was any trouble appears. Of course, for the rest of those 2 days, Outer Blaze managed to sneak Songbird Serenade out of the village, but without the guards noted, because some of the guards were distracted by some of the other Kirans, by the magic and their talents, and so both Outer Blaze and Songbird Serenade actually took walks together in the forest to this hot springs, and Songbird really enjoyed the hot springs. She had never felt so relaxed in months, and she wished that she could just stay there forever. But of course, if she did, her fans would miss her, and she would miss her performance, because that is her life. But then Songbird asked Outer Blaze if she was willing to leave her village to stay in a major city like Manhattan. Outer Blaze was actually quite surprised of that question, but she said actually that since she had been in Ponyville and Camelot, and she has been in Manhattan at least once, and she could actually see herself living in one of those major cities. And of course, 2 days later, Songbird Serenade and Outer Blaze went to Manhattan together, but on the way, Outer Blaze admits her feelings to Songbird Serenade, even as she was prepared for. Songbird would say that she was not into mares or it is the same gender, but in fact, she said that she liked her back the same way, because she has been so kind to her. She has made her smile so much, she is a laugher, she has been treating her like a regular pony, not as a celebrity. And that took her surprise. Of course, after a couple of months, they announced to the public that they were dating. Even Twilight, when she heard about this, she was surprised. She never expected Outer Blaze was in love with Songbird Serenade, and even afterwards, most of the time they were spent together. They either went to restaurants or even go to some dance clubs together, or they spent time in the park. Just spend so much time they could. And some Outer Blaze actually followed with sometimes on Songbird Serenade's concerts to either Saudi Arabia or Mertonia, or even in Ponyville or around Equestria. Not all the time, but most of the sometimes she did. And after nearly 4 years of being dating, Autumn Blaze thought it was maybe time to ask her the big question. When she did, Songbird Serenade, she actually said yes immediately. She started crying and she couldn't believe that Autumn Blaze had asked her to marry her. And they even performed a wedding in Manhattan about this, only a couple of weeks later. Of course, it was one of the biggest weddings in the celebrity world for a long time. And they actually spent time in the Karen village for maybe a week. And they actually decided to stay in Manhattan together. And also, only 3 years later, they asked Twilight to help them to have a baby. Songbird Serenade actually decided to be a mother first. And a few months later, she actually had a daughter. And nearly 5 years later, they wanted to have another child. And of course, Autumn Blaze, she decided to be a mother this time, and she actually had a son. But then, the life started to get a bit difficult between them, since Songbird had taken some vacation from her performance. So she went on a tour, which was going to last for a couple of weeks. So along the Autumn Blaze, she had to raise the two children by herself, but of course she had help from Twilight and her friends. But soon, something did happen. When Autumn Blaze came back home, she heard some rumors that Songbird Serenade had actually fallen in love with somebody else, and she had got engaged, or at least been dating behind Autumn Blaze's back. At first, she didn't want to even believe it, because she knows that there could be many different rumors about the singers or even any celebrities. But the rumors, she thought maybe the rumors will slowly fade away over time. But she was so wrong. The rumors could keep going on. Normally, she thought maybe after a week or two, they were probably old news and that the public would talk about something else. But the rumors, they didn't fade away. After nearly 2 months, the rumors were still going on. But at that time, Songbird Serenade had actually came back to Manhattan, and she was so happy to see her family again. Of course, Autumn Blaze asked her about the rumors, which Songbird Serenade was unaware of. She was unaware of the rumors, but when she told her about the rumors, and Songbird Serenade was really puzzled. She couldn't even believe all the rumors talking behind her back that she was dating somebody else. She was deeply in love with her wife, Autumn Blaze, and never would do anything to cheat on her. And of course, Autumn Blaze believed her, and she thought maybe now when Songbird Serenade was going to be back home, the rumors probably would be fade away when she finds out that she is devoting to her wife and their family. But she was so wrong again. One day when she was out in the park with the children, when Songbird was practicing for some of the new songs in her studio, she heard some of the ponies talking about some random things, but she heard some of them mention about, have you heard that Songbird Serenade had actually been seeing somebody else this time again? Yeah, I heard that she was talking to this pony on a club yesterday. No way, you can't believe it. How can she be doing that to her own wife? And they saw her in the park. Oh, maybe we should talk on something else. Yeah, good idea, they said. Of course, Songbird Serenade couldn't even explain to her wife why this pony is talking about these rumors, because they both know Songbird Serenade wasn't even at any club the day before because she was home all day. So why wouldn't somebody explain to spreading these badly rumors for trying to hurt her reputation? And after some that, Twilight was involved as well, since Autumn Blaze had asked Twilight for help. And she With Twilight's help, they hired a private investigator to find out who, or at least why, this rumors was going on. And it turns out there was some reporter for a newspaper who has been spreading these false rumors about this, and he even had made some explains and some excuses that he had seen her, but they asked for any proof, like photos or any recordings of a song or anything, and even asked for this, who could this pony be which she's supposed to be dating behind her back. But the reporter refused to tell any more about it. Except when she had been found out, the reporter could have been fired. And the reporter then came clean about all the things. He has been getting bored about his job, that even that some other reporters were talking about some of the celebrities, which was quite at this regular basis they happened. But he wanted to do something special. So he made up an idea, spreading some bad rumors about Songbird Serenade, so the public could have something, so that people would buy more of the magazine. And when the reporter told the editor or the director of the newspaper, he said that everything was just going well, that he had solid proof. But the director never actually asked for any proof about this, except for one time when the reporter showed a picture with Songbird Serenade with a male stallion, which proved to be a genuine picture. But that turns out to only be seen only a year earlier when she talked to one of the fans after the concert, which turns out to be a false part of the rumor. Of course, the reporter was never fired because they didn't want her to get fired, but he was suspended for at least 2 weeks before that. After that, he was back to work and, of course, promised never to spread any of those kind of rumors ever again. He realized his mistake, and he kept his promise. Everything went back to normal after that. Songbird could never believe that some pony was getting so low to spreading such bad rumors about her own wife and her children. But Songbird and Autumn Blaze moved on, and their lives together was just strong and happy, even with their 2 children. And that's special about they did actually live. Both loved each other so much, and how much more could they ask for? A much better life with each other, with the pony they loved the most. The end.